भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Let us focus our attention on the innermost center of our consciousness. It is the one without second, unchanging, ever blissful, all-pervading entity, our true self. Let us feel it in our heart as luminous point, and let us assume, let us imagine that it is taking the shape of Lord Rama. Lord Rama, seated in a meditation posture, calm, serene. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us begin with the meditation on Rama as given in the famous Rama Raksha hymn. ध्यायेदाजानुबाहुं धृतशरधनुषं बद्धपद्मासनस्थं पीतं वासोवसानं नवकमलदलस्पर्धिनेत्रं प्रसन्नं वामाङ्कारूढसीता मुखकमलमिलल्लोचनं नीरदाभं नानालङ्कारदीप्तं दधतमुरुजटामण्डलं रामचन्द्रम्. I meditate on the Rama who has the arms long to reach the knees, is seated in a posture called Baddha Padmasanastha, Baddha Padmasana, and there is the bow and arrow in his hands, yet his face is calm. There is the Sita on his left side, and he is full of compassion, showering blessings. We had the birthday of Rama celebrated a couple of days back, and today therefore we shall discuss this teachings of Rama from a wonderful book. It is called Adhyatma Ramayana. A few words about Adhyatma Ramayana, this book. It is a text that was composed much later compared to the original Valmiki Ramayana. It is something like in the 13th century or thereafter, but before 15th century it was composed. And this text is full of the non-dual Vedantic knowledge, and Rama is considered there as Brahman incarnate as a human being. So you have the understanding of Rama in Valmiki as that celebrated original text on Ramayana, and then there is also various different Ramayanas. It is, of course, it could be exaggeration, but it is mentioned that it is, there are 1 billion Ramayanas written. So, Shatakoti Pravistaram. So, 1 billion Ramayanas have been written. So, also that in all these Ramayanas, it has been shown that Rama is the all-pervading Brahman, but acting as a human being. And the degree of how much human and how much divine, that varies. If you compare Valmiki Ramayana, the Rama is shown as a perfect human being, an adorable human being. But you don't see very often the emphasis on the divinity of Rama. There is, of course, mention of Rama being an incarnation of God, but the idea is to depict Rama as a great human being, so that human beings can follow it. Many latter Ramayanas, they have the reversal. The human aspect is suppressed and the divine aspect is made more prominent. This Adhyatma Ramayana is like that. As the students of the life of Sri Ramakrishna and students of Bhagavad Gita, you are aware that God appears in the form of a human being without losing any of the divinity, without having any corruption in the true divine nature. Still that God appears as a human being, acts as human being, so that human beings can learn the great secret that we are actually divine, like that manifestation. So this is the general understanding that we get from the Bhagavad Gita, which is the main source of this discussion on God incarnating as man, avatara as it is described, avatara. Avatar is means in Sanskrit it originally, etymologically means coming down. So coming down at the human level so that human beings will be able to learn from that. It is like the teacher coming down to the level of the student. Teacher has lot of knowledge, but it is to be imparted to the student, and so the teacher comes down at the level of the student. If a teacher cannot do that, then that person, howsoever learned he or she may be, can never properly teach. So, to teach humanity, God comes down at the level of human beings and then uplifts human beings from there. So, this is the idea, and Rama is the incarnation of God, that is first the human being, perfect human being. There have been other manifestations shown in other scriptures, other Puranas, like fish God, God appearing as fish, God appearing as a turtle, God appearing as a big boar, God appearing also as a half man and half lion. Then God appearing as a tiny human being, and God also appearing as a person who is fiercely having that idea of eliminating the cruel warrior clan. So that is all. The first 6 manifestations are shown like that, who were not exactly, it is difficult to understand them as the teachers of humanity. It is more or less considered as the allegoric way of showing the evolution of species. Everything is manifestation of God. So, as you read in biological texts, that it first became the aquatic creatures, then semi-aquatic, and so forth. So that is allegorically presented as these incarnations. So, and then this particular description of incarnations ends with 10, actually 9. The 10th is about to come, whenever it comes. But that 9th is Buddha. And all, therefore, are unanimously, all scholars say that all these texts were written after advent of Buddha, showing that Buddha is the culmination of all this idea of incarnation of God, a perfect human being, and so forth. But the idea in which Bhagavad Gita describes this incarnation of God is very different. Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, they describe that God takes infinitely many incarnations according to the need of the times. That whenever there is the decline of religion, God appears as human being to uplift humanity to their proper standard, to make them aware the goal of their life and also how to achieve it. And so there is the God and man together. But which aspect do you look at is the matter of different writers, different teachers. Like Valmiki shows the human aspect, and whereas this Adhyatma Ramayana, which is part of the Brahmanda Purana, it lays emphasis on the divine aspect, which then later on became the kind of this mold for other Ramayanas to follow, like Tulsi Ramayana. You see there that the Rama is an incarnation of God with human, but more importantly, the divine manifestations. So, Adhyatma Ramayana is like that, and being of the nature of the God described as non-dual, and yet devotionally, it is very useful for us. Its non-dual nature of description made Sri Ramakrishna warn the householder devotees about reading it. He mentions these two specific books, Yoga Vasishtha and Adhyatma Ramayana, where the description of the non-dual reality may confuse the householder devotees unless they deeply penetrate into it and also absorb the devotional element that is told there. So today we shall take up a few teachings in Adhyatma Ramayana, and I will give you a brief description of the circumstances in which those teachings had been given. So, one is that about Rama. He was banished to go to woods, forest for 14 years. He was going to be enthroned as the king in waiting. So, but that was abruptly stopped because of the design of his stepmother, who was actually prompted by her maid servant, and thus, in effect, Rama got ready to go to the forest, and his next brother was Lakshmana, who was tremendously devoted to Rama. Hearing this news, he became terribly angry. And so his outburst, let me read that. He said, "I shall put in fetters the king who is under infatuation, who is of unsteady mind and who is entirely under the thumb of Kaikeyi. So he is telling, giving argument that Rama, you should not listen to that king who is under such terrible influence. I shall then kill Bharata and his uncle and other relatives. Let Bharata and others now witness my prowess, the prowess by which I consume the whole universe in the fire of destruction. This is how the anger, when the anger rises, the sense of proportion and is lost, So he is now so angry that Rama has been deprived of the kingdom and he is told to go to the forest, and he takes up. Rama is calm, but this Lakshmana has all this fire. He says, I shall cause the destruction of all who dare to obstruct your installation. So he is saying all this. Rama calms him down. Rama said, and this is the all really very spiritually important, illuminating discussion that Rama is giving, this advice Rama is giving to his younger brother. Oh, heroic scion of Raghu's line. This is the line of Raghu. Raghu was the originator of this. So it is, he is telling that, oh, you also belong to that line. So this reminder is to remember that how these people, they were very composed and restrained in their behavior. You are indeed powerful and courageous. You are also well-intentioned towards me. I accept all this, but this is not the time for exhibiting your prowess. If this kingdom and all that we experience, including our bodies, were true in the ultimate sense, then it would have been proper for you to make an effort on the lines proposed by you. Enjoyments are momentary, like streaks of lightning appearing in the clouds. So also is life. It is like a small drop of water sprinkled on a red hot piece of iron. It is just gone. So look at this bigger picture of life, that what is after all the purpose. I remember when I was agitated beyond measure because I thought that there is some injustice happening there, and it is I have to jump into it to and eliminate all those people who are causing this injustice. And then one of my brother monks brought me to senses. That, do you really know what is justice? Are you not being driven by your own ego that you will be able to bring justice to the world? It is, you are not getting something that you think you deserve, but don't you read that in the scriptures that everybody gets according to their karma? Moreover, the desires, we read it in Bhagavad Gita. He reminded me, that Swami reminded me of that do we not read in Bhagavad Gita that all these desires, they are born of what is called Rajoguna, the unstoppable spirit to do something. So it is out of, and then the result of that has been told as misery. So do you want it? And why are you here? not for all such stuff. Think of your goal of life, and that gradually cooled me down. That is this all real? We go through this. Anger is the big enemy. Anger really makes you lose the sense of what is your goal. Uh, in Bhagavad Gita, again it is said, Krodhat bhavati sammoha. The anger causes the delusion about what is our goal in life, why are we in this world, and that agitation. It is like all the smoke that comes out. So Rama says to Lakshmana, think of this, that it is our life. It is like a small drop of water sprinkled on a red hot piece of iron. For men in the grip of the serpent of time, to long for these extremely temporary enjoyments is like what is for a frog to cry for food when it is already in the mouth of a serpent. It is. We do like that, already in the mouth of the serpent, and the frog is still asking, looking for some food to eat. So, it is like that. Man struggles day and night in various kinds of work for securing objects of enjoyment for his body. But the truth is that the body is different from the true self. Mm. So, gradually Lakshmana is made aware of this truth, that think of that who is going to forest after all? For all creatures, extremely temporary is the association with their kith and kin like father, mother, sons, brother, wife, and others. It is only like the association that the traveller has in a wayside inn, or even like pieces of wood floating down the river. Fortune is the uh, fortune is unstable like a shadow, so is youth like a wave in a water receptacle. Sexual enjoyments are dreamlike and unsubstantial. Life, after all, is of very short duration. Yet, strangely enough, all living beings run after these values as the be all and end all of life. So, Lakshmana is listening to this, and that gradually brought him to his senses. Rama continues, and we all must think of this. This is for implementation when we are caught in the world, and we have these different desires, and a desire getting obstructed becomes anger. Otherwise, there is no source for anger. There is no anger that is a good anger. It is only my anger is good, your anger is bad, that's all. But basically, anger has this problem, that it is the desires getting obstructed. So, Rama is telling how meaningless are these desires. To harbor these desires is surely going to lead to various types of frustrations. Uh, this transmigratory life resembles a dream, another very familiar uh, analogy given in Vedanta. It resembles like a dream. It is full of sufferings arising from diseases. It is as evanescent as a castle in the air, but yet foolish man goes after it. Sunset and sunrise mark the ebbing away of life. It is, you see that the day is passing, and there is the sunrise, then there is the sunset. One day is gone. Likewise, the life is ebbing away every day. So it is, we have to take notice of it, that the time is running out. We are running out of time, and so one must achieve what is important to be done. The important thing is to be held on to. Other things doesn't matter. When we have very little time, then do what is most important. So it is only because we do not realize that the time is running out, we keep on indulging in things which are actually of not much importance, not at all of any importance. So we go into that and thus miss the most important thing that one must do in life. And then, as a result, when the suffering comes, still we do not wake up to the idea that we have to now take up this as the goal and the center of all my efforts. The reaction comes as that we keep on cursing ourselves, that why did I spend all days in doing these nonsensical things. Oh, stop this, It is, again you are doing the same thing, wasting time about thinking how bad you had been. Don't do that. Just as that was wasting of time, this too is wasting time thinking about what wrong you have done in the past. This kind of carrying on this frustrating guilt and just thinking about it, it drains all the mental energy. So don't do that. Take up the right thing. It is just like, why I have been driving in the wrong direction for half an hour. Correct the course and start driving in the right direction. Just keep on remembering, reverberating in the mind that how wrong I was. And don't brood on that. So it is, that is an important teaching. So this person does not realize the rapidity with which the time rolls on. The contents of our lifespan are like water kept in an unbaked pot. It leaks out and is exhausted every moment. These are all analogies to make us aware that it is very precious something that we should not let it run out. So we have to achieve the purpose of life before it goes away. In this world, you find that man thinks of his own body as I, of this body which is only a synonym for worms, dirt, and ashes, and that we think as I. It is what bacteria, it is all flesh and dirt, and I call that as I. We identify ourselves with that and try to make it look good, nice, by applying cosmetic things on it. But it doesn't change its nature, it is dirt. Howsoever nice you may clothe it or put cosmetics on it, it doesn't change its true nature. So why identify with it? Stop and cultivate this truth that I am not this body, which is just the truth. We have to learn to hold on to this truth that I am not this body. So it is, how can this body be the spirit, the Atman? This body, which is nothing but a combination of skin, bones, excreta, semen, blood, etc., it is extremely changeful also. So these are various thoughts given to understand that you are not the body. Then he further that it is all due to avidya, means the power of nations, that we mistake the real and unreal. Unreal is seen as real and real as unreal. Avidya is the cause of transmigratory life, and the eradication of it is accomplished by vidya. Both form what is called maya. Avidya as well as vidya. Avidya is that which causes bondage. The bondage is unreal. So also the vidya that releases you from the bondage is also unreal. But if one is real, then the other also is to be real. So if it is, there is actually, in truth, in the supreme state, there is neither bondage nor liberation. Therefore, if one feels bondage, then liberation also is real. So liberation, that which liberates it, is called vidya. One story is told about it, that one prince, he felt, he was just about 9-10 years old, and then felt that he has swallowed a snake. And so all the doctors were summoned, after all, the son of king. So the doctors, they saw and said that, well, there is no snake actually there in the stomach. By all their skills, they examined and said, no snake is there. You're fine. But this child was sure that it has swallowed the snake. So all these physicians were kicked out, that they don't understand. He is telling that he has actually swallowed a snake, and they say that there is no snake there. So one physician said, oh, okay. He started pretending, made the boy lie down, and then started pressing different parts of this stomach, and said, oh, now I see here is the head of that snake. Oh, and it goes like this, isn't it? If I move my finger like this, do you feel more pain? The child said, yes. There is this snake going like this. Okay, now we found out, the diagnostic is done. And now we will see that it is gone. And so he gave the child lot of purgatives. And told somebody to take a little dead snake and put it in the latrine. And so the snake that never was there was thrown out. So that is how the bondage and liberation is. According to Vedanta, the bondage is also like that. Since you are feeling bondage, it is bondage. When you don't feel it, you are not in bondage, there is no bondage. Since everybody feels that I am bound and I want mukti, liberation, so we strive for that. But when we realize there is no bondage, then there is no freedom either. It is. Uh, but as long as we feel that I am bound, then we have to make efforts to free oneself. So this is the idea that is told that it is. And then he tells in that context to Lakshmana, anger is man's most terrible enemy. Let us remember this. Anger is man's most terrible enemy. It is when we become angry, the spirituality is just goes out of the window. There is an incident in the life of Swami Adhyatma when he was in Benares. There he was talking to different devotees there, and then a drunken fellow got in and then started, as a drunken person is expected to do, behaving in a rash, erratic manner and causing lot of problem there. So somebody drove that fellow out and then became so angry oneself that why he became like that, and so angrily started his outburst about that drunken man. And Swami Adhyatma said, hey, you are also behaving in the same way. At least that fellow had the excuse that he was drunk. Your anger is making you behave exactly like that. So anger is a very big enemy, and we should realize this idea. Anger is not good. Another, this Latu Maharaj or Swami Adhyatma learned this while Sri Ramakrishna was kind of talking to him. He was attendant to Sri Ramakrishna. And then it is one day there was Rakhal, Swami Brahmananda, and this Latu Maharaj Adhyatma together with Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna told Rakhal, okay, make that betel leaf for me. And Rakhal refused. No, I won't. And then he repeated, still Rakhal said, no, I won't do that. Latu then said to Rakhal, why don't you do that? He is telling you to do that. And he became angry. And Rakhal replied, never done such a thing in life. How can I do just without a notice? I don't know how to do that. And Latu became more angry. You do not listen to what the master is telling you to do. He became like fireball. And there was Ramlal, Sri Ramakrishna's nephew there. Sri Ramakrishna wanted to make this thing more enjoyable and more educative. So he asked Ramlal, hey Ramlal, tell, who is the greater devotee? Who is the superior devotee, this Rakhal or Latu? And Ramlal understood the idea behind it, and he said, of course Rakhal is a superior devotee. That made Latu burst further like a big cracker. How can he become a better devotee? Doesn't listen to what Sri Ramakrishna is telling, talks back to him, and still you call him a better devotee? And Sri Ramakrishna said, oh no Ramlal, you are right. further pouring fuel to fire. How? And Sri Ramakrishna tells, they see, Rakhal is speaking calmly. Latu, you are getting angry. And so you are not the right kind of devotee. If you are getting angry, anger is a big enemy, remember. It is. So, this is just to teach this Latu Maharaj, who later on transmitted this teaching to others, that anger is a very big enemy. So, this is an important teaching imparted here. So, therefore, practice calmness of mind. Thereby, you can avoid having enemies. It is, you will not have enemies if you do not lose your temper. Losing the temper means now you are accusing, throwing all sorts of, expletives on others, and then spoiling your own mind by that. So, therefore, if we want friends, a simple practical idea, then do not get angry. It is very important. So, so these are some of the important teachings that he imparted to Lakshmana. Then we come to another episode, when a very familiar episode, when Wali, there is the story about Wali and Sugriva. Wali very powerful. In fact, it is said that he had defeated Ravana also, and was carrying Ravana and did circumambulation of the earth, carrying Ravana in his armpit. So he was so powerful. So that is also told as the reason that only killing the Ravana was not the purpose of incarnating as Rama. It is because Wali could have done that. There were others also who had defeated Ravana. So Rama was not, God didn't need to take a form as Rama just to kill Ravana. So now this Wali and Sugriva, they, two brothers, they developed terrible enmity. I don't want to go into the details. The clock is telling me that, hey, wind up. So it is, but Rama killed this Wali on behalf of Sugriva. Sugriva himself was not capable of doing it. Wali was far too powerful. So Rama took the side of Sugriva and killed Wali. And then Wali's wife, Tara her name, she started weeping and wailing, and then Rama gave advice to her. So Tara, who was bemoaning the fate in this way, her fate in this way, was graciously comforted by the high-souled Rama by imparting to her the knowledge of truth. Rama said to her, O noble lady, it befits you not to mourn over your husband's death. Who is your husband? Is it this body or this jiva, the soul? Think of the true state of affairs. So he tells her as that, well, this is the body, is not your husband. You are not connected to it. It is, so think of it deeply, and then you will see that your crying, weeping, wailing, and being, suffering will come to an end. The jiva is all-pervading and endless. The jiva, the soul, is all pervading and endless, and it is neither man nor woman nor a neuter. There is one without a second, unaffected by anything, just like the sky. The soul is eternal, pure, and of the nature of consciousness. What reason is there for you to mourn for that? Whom are you mourning for? The body and the mind, they are inert. And then, so there is no need for mourning for that. And then, if you think of soul, it is eternal, immortal, so there is no need to mourn for that either. This is the wisdom you find in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter as well. But then Tara questioned Rama, "O Rama, the body is an insentient thing like a piece of wood. The jiva is deathless and of the nature of pure consciousness. If it be so, whose is the bondage? Who is bound?" This is a question that crops up in Vedanta very often. It is, who is that experiences pleasure and pain and is affected by the pleasure and pain, affected by them, and who carries these impressions and takes up the another body, transmigration, and that is called samsara. Means you keep on going from one body to another body endlessly. So it is because this body, like your phone, you have smartphones these days, most people have. It is so that phone goes, it becomes bad after some years. It doesn't get it doesn't charge, it doesn't get new apps and so forth. So you need to change the phone, and then you take your all that you did previously with the old phone, your files, your pictures, your contacts, and put them in the new phone. And that is like the reincarnation. Your phone is different now. Maybe your phone, earlier you bought it from Samsung, and then you bought it from Lenovo or whatever other company. So, but the data gets transferred from one to another. Similarly, this body is gone, but the whole data, the mind, doesn't go away with the body. So you transfer all that is stored in the mind into the next phone, next body. That is called transmigration. And jiva, getting identified with the mind, then goes from one body to another body. The soul, soul identified with mind and body too. But as the body becomes useless, gets now difficult to repair, so it is now you change that to the new body and take the information with you, and thus it goes on endlessly. So similarly, you say, who is that who takes this new body, and who is in bondage? This question crops up. Am I in bondage? So there is actually no answer to this. The one who feels is in bondage. There is actually no bondage. If you don't feel, you are not in bondage. That who, the one who asks who is in bondage, that fellow is in bondage. So Rama explains that to her. O noble lady, samsara and the bondage experienced in this state belong to manas, that is mind. This is not something that I was talking, please switch off the phone. Yeah. The spirit getting identified with manas. Manas is, they have used the same Sanskrit word. Loosely we can translate it as the mind, intellect, and all that, which is this subtle body, the program or software that runs this gross body. So it identifies with it. This phenomena can be understood from the analogy of how a clear piece of crystal placed near a red paint appears as stained by that color. This is again another very familiar analogy in Vedanta, that it is something that because of the proximity it takes those qualities. The crystal is clear, it has no color, but keep a red something there, red flower or red cloth, and it starts appearing red. So, similarly, the soul, because of the, as such, soul has no qualities, no limitations, no bondage of space or time. Yet, the mind is in proximity with it, and so the colors of the mind are taken on by that soul, and thus you experience bondage. So it is thus the Atman comes to be involved in samsara, helplessly bound by the gunas or the objects of the senses. First, the mind in association with Atman generates the sense objects and imposes on them their painful and pleasurable nature. Both painful as well as pleasurable. It is its own creation and gets caught in it. The mind creates this world and then gets caught in it. So therefore, like the dream, in dream you see you get caught in the dream also, chasing. As long as you are in dream, you start chasing the objects in that dream world. So who made those objects? You made it. And then you feel that, oh, this fellow, all is going on in the dream, has dealt me such a painful blow. Now who dealt it? It is your mind who made that fellow, who is beating you. So similarly in this world also we make it and we get caught in that. So it is when everything is dissolved into this primitive condition at the end of the cosmic cycle, the jiva, along with all its acquired tendencies and its karma potential, gets dissolved in the beginningless avidya. And then again at the beginning of the creation, it starts all over again. Holy Mother used to give this analogy that this avidya keeps all the seeds. Like a grandmother in olden times used to have many things in her little purse. So it is, and then at the time of creation all those seeds are again put out, and then the creation proceeds through that. So it is like that, it goes cyclically. So those who get the knowledge that this is not real and just get emancipated. So there is no bondage for them. Like waking up from the dream, now you are not affected by what was happening in the dream. You do not look for that fellow who was beating you while you were in the dream. When you wake up, all that both are gone. The one who was beating and the one who was getting the beating, both vanish. So, the transmigration is over only when we wake up to this truth. So, and then he tells her that you have to get instructed from a competent teacher, and then they practice this discipline. Uh, Later on, in his instructions to Lakshmana again, he elaborates on this point further, that Lakshmana asks the question how he should be doing his worships, the actions, because we all require actually actions to convert that into our thought. Actions are very important. It is Swami Vivekananda, he has, a very beautiful chapter on rituals. It is rituals, they are philosophy in action. So, we have to therefore practice rituals properly. So, Lakshmana asked this question to Rama, how am I to do that? So, Rama tells first, you have to get initiated into the proper mantra by a competent guru, and then perform these practices of internal purification and worship and so forth. So, it is a very beautiful piece of devotional text there. So, as I was telling, although this book it lays tremendous emphasis on the non-dualism, it also is replete with practices of devotion, so that we will experience the truth in life. One need not think, I am telling this because there is a false perception in many that if you are a non-dualist, then you should not be worshipping. Such people have not read or studied the proper text of non-dualism. All these texts you will see, they emphasize this practice, the worships, the mantra and all such things. So therefore, this Adhyatma Ramayana, you will find the elaboration of these things given, so that we actually realize the goal. Otherwise it just remains, daydreaming. The life goes on in the same way. And just for argument's sake, such people say we are non-dualists. Where is that non-dualism? So that non-dualism is to be realized, experienced, and for that we have to take up all these disciplines in life. So I urge people to read this beautiful text, and here I stop with salutations to Lord Rama, and we shall meditate for a few seconds on this. Rama, who is the indwelling reality, who also takes the human form as the son of Dashratha, that very Rama is also this whole universe, and that Rama is supreme. Any questions? Yes, please.
Yeah. I started reading a book about J. Edgar Hoover, who was the head of the FBI for many years, and it said that he was a Christian nationalist. And what the FBI does is they infiltrate groups that are not Christian and try to disrupt them. And is that not something, how do I not get angry at that?
Oh, well, by getting angry at that, you get associated with it. So if you do not want to be one of them, don't get angry, don't just ignore. The point is that if you get angry at them, you will get angry to so many people which are associated with that. You will have to get angry with everyone, because in a way everyone is a participator in that. Every citizen is a participator in FBI.
Now, what they're doing is actually illegal, but because they're secret, no one can catch them.
Well, but we are part of that organization. We fund it. Eh? Yeah, the taxpayers fund it. So in a way we are participators in that. It is, this society has its own ways of functioning, and so it is, we have become, don't get angry, you oppose it, but don't get angry. It is, otherwise your opposition will not work. If you get angry, you lose your capability to act properly. So if you want that it is illegal and should be stopped, see what you can do to stop it rather than getting angry about it. Yes,
Swamiji,
Tilak?
welcome back. I wanted to ask you about the issue about bondage. So if you're steeped in the life of the senses and you don't think you're in bondage, isn't that inferior to knowing that you're in bondage and trying to get out of it?
It is certainly inferior. You do not even know that you are in bondage. Sri Ramakrishna classified the 4 types of these beings. The lowest are those like the fish who are caught in the net but are not even aware that they are caught in the net. Yeah, so that is true, that they will gradually, with some awakening, they will become aware that they are bound. That is, the 2 extremes look alike, that those who are free, they are not aware of the bondage, and those who are too bound, they also are not aware that they are bound. Like since you are a physician, an expert physician may say that I don't know how to tackle this health condition. And an ignorant fellow like me say, I also don't know how to tackle this condition. The 2 things are completely different, you see. Yeah, thank you. Any other question here? Anyone upstairs? No question upstairs. So let us conclude with the closing prayers, and then you are invited to join the soup supper. As you know, there is a retreat coming up on coming Saturday, the 8th of April. So you are all welcome to join it. So you can register here or register online, and do it as fast as you can, because we are more or less filled. So it is, and then next coming Sunday, that is April 9th, the talk will be on immortality by Pravrajika Divyananda Prana, the Venerable Nun from Sarda Mutt, who is also giving the retreat on Saturday. So she will be speaking on that. It is an Easter Sunday. And so I have suggested this topic to her, that speak of immortality, that is characterizes as on Easter as Jesus again, appearing after his so-called crucifixion. So she will be speaking on that. Tuesday and Friday classes will go on as usual. Tuesdays the topic is the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and on Fridays it is the stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we shall now have Arati, and then yes, and then closing prayer and then Arati. Thank you. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.
Breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Stainless Lord, assuming human form. Stainless Lord, assuming human form, transcendent yet filled with love. You free us from the stain of sin and ornament our world. Consciousness is your form. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Looking at them, illusion is gone. Ocean of shining love and feeling, ever inebriated in your infinite love. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Form our boat to cross this world. Reveal to us as God incarnate and the Lord of all things, helping us join with you. Your mind's always in the divine light. Your mind's always set in the divine light. This we can see through your grace. Destroyer of our worldly sorrow and compassion so infinite is your word. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance, saving us from darkness and fear. Renouncer of all lust and lucre, therefore you were always spurning sensual life. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. You're fearless and you're free from doubting, with your mind very firmly resolved. Causeless refuge of your devotees, causeless refuge of your devotees, renouncing caste and birth. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even-sightedness. You give love and even-sightedness to remove our anguish here. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even-sightedness. You give love and even-sightedness to remove our anguish here. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blessing in the heart's gate. Great light of all lights, blessing in the heart's gate. Darkness is destroyed by your light. O Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Darkness is destroyed by your light. O Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Langa Ranga Bhanga, these are all the sounds of Mridanga. Langa Ranga Bhanga, these are all the sounds of Mridanga. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Jaya Jaya for your worship divine. Hara Hara for your worship divine. Shiva Shiva for your worship divine. Breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki auspicious and blessed, graciousness sublime, all noble ends you give to us, granting us refuge, all-seeing Gauri, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Creation, preservation, dissolution are your powers, eternal one. Nature's real basis, nature's essence, O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish. Be our Savior through your deep concern. All our suffering remove, Goddess, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Jai Shri Ram Krishna Dev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Sarda Devi Ki Jai, Jai Shri Swami Vivekananda Ki Jai, Jai Shri Buddha Dev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Jesus Christ Ki Jai.